Hello and welcome to the new interview questions and answers videos on risk management and compliance. In this video, I will be mentioning different interview questions one by one. We will cover risk management and compliance. For each question, you have to listen very carefully the responses I will be providing. I would like you to note each of the answers and responses in your copy or notebook for your reference because you will be able to remember the answers if you write with your hands. So let's start the question one by one. So the number one question is, tell us about yourself. Let's suppose your name is Mr. John. So you will provide the response like, my name is John, and I am the risk management and compliance professional. I have been working in this field since last more than 4 to 5 years. I have worked with financial institutions and other reputable organizations in the risk management and compliance domain. My qualification and certifications also align with the risk management and compliance. I have worked with senior professionals and assisted them in the policies and procedures development, performance of internal controls reviews, and developing the risk management strategy to perform the risk assessment during the year for different processes and functions. Question number two is, why do you want to join this company or institution? So before the answer, if you have not subscribed this channel, I would request you to please subscribe this channel because I will be uploading these types of videos, and I've also uploaded other videos. You can watch them related to risk management, compliance, cyber security, etc. So let's come back to the question, why do you want to join this company? So your response may be, I have researched on your company. I find the policies and the strategy of the company that I want to work with, and I find myself very much aligned with your institutional's risk strategy and management practices. And my mission is to explore my career in a reputable organization like yours in the risk management and compliance domain. That's why I applied in this company, and I am truly passionate about joining this company. The question three may be, what is compliance? So the answer should be very brief for this. Compliance means adherence to applicable laws, regulations, standards, circulars, and guidelines that are issued by the regulatory authorities from time to time. Question number four is, what is compliance risk? So the answer should be very specific. The compliance risk is the risk of non compliance with applicable laws, regulations, standards, guidelines, frameworks that are issued by the regulatory authorities, and the internal policies that are developed by the leadership and the senior management. And compliance risk leads to possible investigations by the regulatory authorities and imposition of fines and penalties if significant compliance lapses are found by the regulatory authorities. Question 5 can be, can you name few of the important laws and regulations that are applicable to the financial services institution? So you will say, yes, I know some of the very important laws and regulations that are applicable to the financial services institution, such as anti-money laundering law, customer due diligence and know your customer regulations, tax laws, labor laws, cyber security laws, data privacy laws, environmental, social, and governance laws and regulations, customer fair treatment regulations, etc. Question 6 is, what is the difference between a compliance policy and a compliance procedure document? This is a very basic level question, but most of the people or the persons who are giving the interview do not know the difference between the policy and procedure. So listen very carefully what I am mentioning here. Policy is a broader guideline that is provided by the board of directors and senior management to the middle management and lower level management. Compliance policy is a document that broadly covers the compliance requirements and obligations that are imposed or issued by the regulatory authorities. While on the other hand, the compliance procedure document is a detailed compliance processes and step by step procedures document that the management and lower level management employees must understand and perform in the sequence that are covered in the procedure document. So, in summary, compliance policy is a broader compliance requirements document, and compliance procedure is the detailed document that guides the employees how to perform a certain activity or process considering compliance with applicable laws and regulations. So, number question 7 is, what are the key steps of performing compliance risk management? So, you will say there are four main steps of performing the compliance risk management. Number one is risk identification, in which we identify the compliance risks from applicable laws and regulations. Number two step is the performance of compliance risk assessment. The compliance risk assessment includes performance of inherent and residual risk assessment. And for each risk, we map the risk with the relevant compliance control and then assess the residual risk for that particular risk. In the compliance risk assessment, we prioritize the risks as well and see what risks are critical and what are non critical. So we provide the ratings to each of the risk as high risk, medium risk, and low risk. Then accordingly, we perform the risk mitigation, that is number third step. In the risk mitigation step, we ensure that applicable risks and applicable laws and regulations are complied with through the relevant controls. So for each of the risks that are prioritized, compliance controls are established and implemented, and this is done with the proper compliance mitigation plans. And number four is compliance reviews and monitoring. Compliance department performs periodic compliance reviews and monitoring for each of the implemented controls, and in case any inefficiencies or compliance breaches are found, compliance team reports those breaches to the senior management and ensure that applicable controls are timely implemented to rectify the issues and lapses. Question number 8 is, what is a risk? Risk is the outcome of an adverse impact or adverse activity. Risk is the negative outcome for the financial institutions if it arises from the negative activity or negative event. Like, for example, cybersecurity event. Cybersecurity event will lead to the risk of cyber security controls lapses and loss of data and protection. What is risk management? Risk management is a process that is performed on a regular basis by the institutions, including risk identification, risk assessment, risk mitigation, risk reviews, and monitoring. What is operational risk? Operational risk is the risk of loss of or the failure of internal processes, internal systems, internal controls, a loss of critical humans, and the occurrence of natural events such as earthquake or floods that may cause disruptions to the operations of the institution. What is cybersecurity risk? Cybersecurity risk is the risk of a cyber attack on the network or systems of the institution that will cause the loss of control over the critical systems and resources, including the laptops, computers, internet connected devices, servers, or networks. And resultantly, the cyber security risk will result in the loss of critical data and information like the customer's data. What is compliance risk? Compliance risk is the non compliance with applicable laws, regulations, standards, and guidelines that are issued by the regulatory authorities from time to time. What are other risks to which institutions are exposed? Can you name them and briefly discuss each one of them? So, for this question, you have to think about other risks that are not asked by the interviewer. So, you can say, yes, there are other risks to which the institutions are exposed, including the liquidity risk, including the credit risk, the legal risks, reputational risk, etc. So, for liquidity risk, it is the risk of not having enough short term capital or highly liquid capital in the form of cash to meet the short term obligations or unexpected outcomes for the institution. Similarly, reputational risk is the risk of loss of reputation due to any adverse event that cause panic amongst the customers and general public, and the resultant factors of the reputational risk is the loss of customers and loss of market reputation. Legal risk is the risk of you can say non-compliance with applicable legislations and laws, or a legal risk also arise if any legal dispute is filed against the institution. So that was the legal risk. So you have to keep your answers to the definitions very specific, because if you go on to think about the examples, you will then confuse in the interview. So you have to avoid that. So listen carefully what I have told. I would request you to please go there and back this video and re-listen and note each of the responses. So question number 14 is, what are the logical steps of performing risk management activity in an institution? So for this question, you will say there are different logical steps starting from identification of risk in a particular department or activity. Then after identification of risks from the applicable laws, regulations and policies, we perform the risk assessment. And in the risk assessment, we perform the inherent and residual risk assessment and map the risk with the controls to rate the residual risk for each identified risk. And after a risk assessment, we perform the risk mitigation and develop the risk mitigation controls to ensure that prioritized risks are mitigated. And then we perform the periodic risk management reviews for each of the critical departments and processes to ensure that identified risks are mitigated and controls are properly implemented. The next question, in continuation of question number 14, is who is responsible to perform risk management in an institution? So, your response should be that each of the employees working in the organization or institution is responsible to perform the relevant risk management, because it is the duty of everyone to be aware of their relevant risks and manage them effectively. However, the risk management department in the institution is responsible to strategize and to develop the risk management plan for different departments and processes, and actually perform the risk management in coordination with the stakeholders and departmental owners. I hope you have carefully listened and noted each of the responses that I discussed in this video. And thank you for watching this video. Subscribe and like and share this video with your colleagues, with your relatives, with your brothers and sisters, because this may help you someone, and your kind sharing will benefit others as well. So you can mention other GRC related topics that you want me to cover in this on this channel, so I will make a video for that. Thank you.